Sometimes when you're spicing up the loops in your music, it can be difficult to tell exactly when you need to change something or what you need to change or what you need to do. So today I'm going to show you guys a plugin that I've been loving lately for this very purpose, to make easy and interesting variations in those otherwise maybe bland loops so you can keep the ear of the listener engaged. So let's jump into it. So let's say that you started your song and you got some chords laid down and it kind of sounds like this. And you're like, it's cool, but I think it needs a little bit more spice, a few more variations. Let me introduce you guys to a plugin that I've been loving using lately. It's called Turnado, and it's actually by the same company, Sugar Bytes, that makes Effectrix, if you've ever used that. So basically the way that this works is you get access to 8 different slots for different effects, and each of the effects has different presets. So you can configure each of the individual effects as you see fit. But the really cool thing is that you can adjust several parameters within the effect at the same time with one single knob. Okay, so if we activate this thing called freeze verb on this particular loop that we've got, this is what it sounds like. So the basic idea here is you can add all kinds of different changes to the loop that you're working on with these different effects, and you can swap things in and out as you see fit and do any combination of effects as well, rather than adding things one by one from your DAW. Okay, so it's kind of a unique and very efficient way of changing things drastically. So let me just give you guys a quick idea of what some of these effects sound like. What I really like to do though is on my MPK Mini, you can see that there's actually 8 different knobs here, and there's 8 different knobs in the plugin. So I like to assign each of those knobs and then kind of play around with it by hand and start recording in some automation as one method of creating these different variations for your loops. So if you're in Ableton, it's pretty easy to do that. You just click this caret and you click this configure button, and whatever button you press, it'll create sort of like an automation slider for you, and then you can assign that slider to your MIDI keyboard, in this case the MPK Mini. So I'm going to click each one of these and set the option, and then I'm going to press Command M and click on Control 1 and assign each one of these knobs. Now, when I move stuff on my MIDI keyboard, you can see that the knobs are moving, which is awesome. Just make sure that this little gear icon is activated so that it will record the automation that you actually do. So let's have some fun here. So that's one way that you can work. Another way that I like to work is to record in Resample Mode, which basically records the output of your DAW into a new track. So if I just press Command T and open up a new audio track and then set the input over here to resampling, and then we're just going to solo the loop track with Turnado on it and then record that in. So just keep both of these tracks soloed for now so that it's not recording everything else that's in this session. Let's also have some fun and open up a different preset here. So if we went to keyable, and we played around with these parameters, I'm just going to record everything that we do and then pick out little pieces that I like so that we can add it into our loop or combine it or do whatever we want with it. So let's take a listen to a couple of these things that I recorded here. So kind of interesting flavor and a different take on what we've already got. So now we could kind of use this as the basis for our new song, right? And you can actually get really, really crazy with this plugin too. So if you go up to the top and you click Dictator, you can change all of the settings of the chosen effects inside of your effect rack at once with just one slider, right? So if we did it with this one, let's bring everything back down to 0. And watch what happens when I slide this slider up. So then say you didn't even know what type of effects you even wanted. You could go up to the top here and press this little dice icon, which, as you guys know from previous videos, I love when they include a dice icon. You can just randomize everything inside of the plugin right away. You don't have to do much thinking. You can just let the randomization catch your ear in certain ways, right? So if we just click the dice here, sometimes it's cool to bring the dry wet down a little bit and just let the stuff in the background be the crazy part and keep the raw elements of the loop intact. That one's kind of cool to do when you know that something needs a little bit more interest, but you don't want to like mess with the raw musicality there. It adds like another texture behind everything, which is pretty cool, rather than having it be all warbled and mangled and crazy. One other really cool way that I like to use this is actually on the drums bus and not just on, any loops that you want to spice up. You can add all these kind of glitchy and cool effects onto your drums. So this is what the drums sound like without anything. And let me show you what this sounds like on drums. This is another situation where I really like to use resampling. So let's say we call this like drum textures or something. The cool part about working this way too is that I find that the textures that are created from the plugin on your drums bus tend to fit better because it uses your drums as the source of what it's mangling. And so things tend to fit together more nicely than when you just pick a random sound from your sound library, right? So this is what you might end up with, right? And you just turn it down a little bit and it adds some cool flavor into your drum. And then of course, since it's an audio, you can start like doing what I did, like reverse it or pitch stuff up and down or get real crazy with it. So it sparks a lot of inspiration, and I just tend to have a lot of fun with working this way. Now, lastly, what I want to show you guys too is that don't feel like you need to use things on individual elements only within your session. You can actually use it on your entire track. And this is something I've done in the past where you have like a finished track or whatever, and then you just put it on the master and start adjusting some of the parameters. And this works especially well if you make like future bass or you make like instrumental hip hop and you need lots of different, little variations that you can add in there. So variations and interesting textures are going to be key in keeping the listener engaged with your music for longer. And it's really nice to have tools like this in your arsenal that can get you results really fast and just help you be creative and make things sound a bit crazy. So I hope this gave you guys some good ideas, and if you do incorporate stuff like this into your own workflow, let me know how you do it. I'd love to hear. All right, take care everybody. Happy music making, and we'll see you in the next video.